Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is June 19th of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to assassinate U.S. President Donald J. Trump on the date of June 20th or the morning of June 21st of 2026. While visiting the Camp David Presidential Retreat in Frederick County, Maryland. So basically, Donald J. Trump has signed his death warrant, and I'm going to go through the steps of how we got to where we are here today. But essentially, the CIA is going to neutralize President Donald J. Trump on the 86 numerology. Because Donald J. Trump is 80 years old and 6 days on the date of June 20th of 2026. And so, as with all CIA assassination plots, terror attacks, and acts of war, they always have different steps. So if the first one is foiled, then they go to Plan B and then to Plan C. So in this particular case, Donald J. Trump is going to be terminated on this particular numerology. Firstly, I'm just going to highlight the numerology surrounding this particular date, which is blinking red. And then, of course, I'm going to highlight the most likely scenario. So firstly, the date of June 20th marks exactly 3 days since the so-called Islamabad Memorandum between the United States and the Islamic Republic of Iran was signed in Versailles, France, back on June 17th of 2026. So in the event of a second Islamabad Memorandum related event on this date, it would make two such events in 4 days, and that's 24 equates to the letter X, because Donald Trump is going to be X'd out for signing this, basically betraying the state of Israel. That is why Miriam Adelson, who gave, I believe, Trump $300 million to run for president this last time in 2024, her newspaper said that Trump betrayed her. So the Swiss CIA in Geneva has ordered the Israeli Mossad to neutralize Donald J. Trump on this particular date. Also, the date of June 20th marks exactly 6 days since the so-called Islamabad Memorandum was drafted back on June 14th of 2026, which was coincidentally Donald J. Trump's 80th birthday. And of course, the 6 days is reflected in the six-pointed star of the CIA. Not to mention that the date of June 20th, I should also mention, is 620 or 26, which equates to the letter Z, which is an acronym for Zionism. It also marks 9 days since the CIA had one of their operatives, I guess they burned it into the grass or they used a chemical, but on the National Mall in Washington, D.C., they put the numbers 8647 into the ground. And this 86 means to kill or to throw out. And this is 47th president would be Donald J. Trump. And this is designed to foreshadow that Donald J. Trump is going to be 6 feet under the ground or under the grass, essentially. And this was an ominous threat because former FBI Director James Comey released an ominous tweet exactly 401 days ago on June 20th, back on May 15th of 2025. He released a tweet with seashells with the number 8647. And of course, number 41 is indicative of Switzerland, which is this number is found in their national motto called All for One, One for All. So we have two threats directed directly at the president's life, and Comey was indicted by the U.S. Department of Justice for this. So he has an axe to grind with Trump, and it's highly likely that the Mossad will bring James Comey to Camp David while Trump is there this weekend, and Comey will actually murder Trump. I'm not certain, of course, but I just knowing how the way the CIA works, because if this ever gets out that Switzerland was responsible or Israel was responsible for the murder of our president, they can always try to put it back onto the FBI and try to start a civil war. So it's kind of an insurance policy, if you will. So basically, there's a high probability that James Comey will be in Maryland on June 20th. The date of June 20th also marks exactly 516 days since Donald J. Trump became president of the United States. The number 16 is reflected in the 16-pointed star of the CIA, so this has their numeric signature, and coincidentally, the date of June 20th marks exactly 17 months since Donald J. Trump became president of the United States for a second time. The number 17 equates to the letter Q, as in coup d'etat, because this is an overthrowing of the U.S. government by neutralizing a sitting U.S. president. And also, the date of June 20th marks exactly 29,226 days since Donald J. Trump was born in Queens, New York, back on June 14th of 1946. And of course, this number has the 26 numerology 3 times. 26 equates to the letter Z, which is an acronym for Zionism. And it has also the 96 numerology, which is reflected in the nuclear attacks at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because as soon as J.D. Vance is sworn in as President of the United States on the date of June 20th or the date of June 21st, he will order a ground invasion of Iran, which will ultimately draw China and or Russia into the recently ended Iran war, and which will obviously trigger World War III. I just want to highlight the most likely scenario. So Donald J. Trump is in the woods, essentially surrounded by hundreds of miles of forest, and right below this so-called presidential retreat is called Orange 1, which is likely connected to Mount Weather or Raven Rock, which are these underground military cities or installations on the East Coast. So the notion that an assassin could get into that area without being detected by the Secret Service, which are up above ground, or that the Mossad could enter undetected is obviously this eliminates that possibility, because they can just enter from beneath the compound. You can look this up. I just discovered this today when I was researching this. But the most likely scenario is, because the number 6, which is littered throughout the numerology, not only on how long Trump has been in office, 516 days, how many days he's been alive, 29,226, and 6 days since he signed the agreement between Iran and the United States. So basically, everybody on the right, from Sean Hannity to Tucker Carlson to Megyn Kelly to all these people, have been saying that basically Trump surrendered to Iran. And this is the most likely scenario here on the date of June 20th, is that Donald J. Trump is going to be murdered, suicided, likely hanging from a tree, something that's very visually shocking, because they want to send a message to anybody that would ever dare to basically come against them. But that's the most likely scenario, is that they suicide him. The other potential scenarios include a sniper attack, which I published a report today for, as well as a 9/11 style Antifa attack, which would subsequently start a forest fire, an ICBM strike. There's also the possibility that beneath Camp David is thousands of tons of liquid nitroglycerin, the most explosive compound on Earth, and that Israel or Canada or some other entity will send a rocket into there, and it'll blow up, and they'll say it's a nuclear bomb. But other likely scenarios is that Donald J. Trump suffers some sort of medical emergency, possibly under the guise of a tick bite or a mosquito bite or a snake bite, given that he is in the woods, a tree fall, some sort of a bombing attack or drone bombing attack, a naturally occurring forest fire, so to speak. There's also the possibility, because of Orange One, located beneath the Camp David compound, that Donald J. Trump will be kidnapped, and that Iran, China, or Russia will be blamed. And given the weather, that it is summer and the hoax of global warming needs a kick in the ass, there's a possibility that he would be killed under the guise of a heat stroke. But needless to say, they are planning to murder him on this particular numerology, the 6th numerology, and which is coincidentally reflected in the name of Camp David. The Star of David is a 6-pointed star, as previously mentioned, and so this is what's called numerologically sound, or kosher, if you will. If the CIA ends up foregoing an assassination plot targeting President Trump on Saturday, June 20th, 2026, at Camp David in Frederick County, Maryland, they will arrest him for crimes he did not commit. The most likely scenario at this point is Epstein file crimes, related crimes, and the new one that the New York Times dredged up today, that was headline news today, was that Trump is guilty of insider trading with Dell Incorporated, and the $9.7 billion deal that Dell signed with the Pentagon after donating 6-point-something billion dollars to the, I forget the exact name, but they're the accounts that each newborn baby gets in the United States, and Dell is putting in $1,000 or something like that. So what they're going to say basically is arrest him for insider trading or some sort of quid pro quo deal with the founder of Dell, whose name is slipping my mind at this point, but that's likely plan B, is an arrest, and I believe that James Comey, the disgraced former director of the CIA, who has now since been indicted, will likely be the arresting officer, even though he is not in official capacity, because this is not going to be a done by the book arrest raid. It's going to be off the books, because Donald J. Trump will not survive long enough to make it to court to face his accusers, or to defend himself, because this is a coup, which I've detailed in numerous videos for months, if not years. But just to recap, it's 100% certain that Donald J. Trump is going to die at Camp David on June 20th of 2026, exactly 6 days after authoring a peace deal between the United States and the Islamic Republic of Iran, otherwise known as the so-called Islamabad Memorandum. And because he betrayed Israel, allegedly, he is going to pay the price. And so this is an Israeli, just as they did with JFK, just as they did with 9/11, just as they did with 7/7, just as they did with the USS Liberty attack and all the others. This is going to be an epic false flag. And Israel is ultimately going to be responsible, after getting their direct orders from CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland. So obviously, if Trump does not survive the weekend, we know exactly who to blame for this impending assassination, a neutralization of a sitting U.S. president by a foreign entity. So if this happens, I would kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets.